We do Geraldo Rivera. He's a Fox News correspondent-at-large. He's in Ohio today, where, Geraldo, I understand you've already been out in the elements.
I have. It's been a snowy day. You know, it's so funny. I left 89th Street, where all I had to do is dodge taxis. Here I have deer, squirrel, snow drifts. It's a whole different life.
You know,
deer and squirrel,
us.
that's lunch and dinner.
You know you miss us.
I do. I miss seeing you, Ainsley, especially. The other guys, not so much.
Yeah,
All right, sorry, guys.
All right. So, Geraldo, how about this? You know, over 4 days out in California, which is now a sanctuary state, ICE was able to arrest a little more than 200 people in the Bay Area. They'd been looking for close to 1,000, but it sounds like the fact that the Oakland mayor warned illegals, hey, I caught wind of ICE raids coming up, you better skedaddle. It sounds like they did, and now apparently the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice are considering obstruction of justice charges against the mayor.
Well, it's possible the mayor did commit obstruction of justice. It depends on where she got the information. She's unapologetic about it. If she got information that the ICE raid was pending through official sources, then she could very well be in a jam. She says, however, she got it from multiple informal sources, just, people chatting about it. The word came down that the ICE task force was mobilizing, was going to hit the Bay Area pretty hard to round up the undocumented immigrants. She, went out there. She says she's willing to go to jail for it. California, we have to recognize in our country, and you guys know this, the blue-red thing, the liberal-conservative thing. Many people believe that the undocumented, particularly what irked, I think, Mayor Schaaf and some of the other officials, San Jose and San Francisco's mayors also, was the fact that ICE was not just rounding up the criminal aliens, and by criminal alien, I mean someone who is here without documentation, who has committed a crime other than their mere presence. They cited a case of one woman, Maria Mendoza Sanchez, 46 years old, mother of 4, a nurse who, after 20 years residence in the Bay Area, was rounded up and deported. Those are the kinds of things that really irk people who believe, for instance, the Dreamer should be given amnesty
but Geraldo,
and so
what
forth.
about the people who had committed sexual abuse, people who apparently were drug dealing, and there's, up and down the list of people who broke the law?
Steve, in those cases, obviously, it irks many people. It seems like a violation of everything we hold sacred. And yet there are some who just believe that local authorities and state authorities would be better suited, to enforce their own laws. They don't want ICE, the federal government, coming in. It's a dilemma that will not be solved absent some kind of comprehensive immigration agreement that includes the Dreamers. I just think we're going to be very contentious. There can be two sides on it no matter what.
When's the last time you were in Los Angeles or San Francisco?
What's that?
When's the last time you were in Los Angeles or San Francisco?
Oh, weeks ago.
Right. Have you noticed the blossoming, ugly homeless problem that they're experiencing there? Not only do they feel like they're overtaxed and they're in the red, but I have never seen, it almost is like a city within a city of tents. Yet the San Francisco mayor has announced an $11 million fund to pay for legal aid for these detainees. How is that fair to the people who are here legally, knowing that there's clearly a need for those tax dollars elsewhere?
First of all, I absolutely agree. I have never, remember, I lived in California for many years also.
So did I.
I have never, particularly in San Francisco, seen the homeless problem more egregious than it is now. It is epidemic. They've had a very liberal attitude toward the homeless, and as a result, there are tent cities everywhere, under bridges. Any place there's a park where you can pitch a tent. I think it's really very unsavory in many, many regards. And there are other needs needs the city has. And that comes to your question about the $11 million legal aid fund and the morality of that. Again, I think it's going to be different strokes for different folks. When you consider how many of the people in the Bay Area and in California generally are Hispanic, how many of them have ties to the immigrant population, legal and illegal, it just is a way different place than I sit in the snows of Ohio. You guys are in Manhattan right now. California is different. It's far away. It has a different vibe, a different attitude. It goes to a different beat. You're never going to get people who believe in the strict enforcement of our immigration codes.
Yeah, but it's getting to the tipping point.
They're never going to be happy.
All right, well, let's go to the East Coast. We've talked a lot about the West Coast.
It could well be.
Let's go to Washington right now. Devin Nunes, chairman of the House Intel Committee, he's now saying, he wrote a scathing letter to the AG, to Jeff Sessions, yesterday, saying the FBI might have violated multiple criminal statutes in this FISA application and getting the permission to spy on the Trump campaign. What are your thoughts?
I agree with Devin Nunes. I believe that, first of all, when you have a FISA warrant, one of these sacred, secret warrants from a court that is unlike every other court in the land, it operates secretly because of all of the constitutional protections that are suspended by the FISA process. It's very, very strict. You have to have probable cause that the target of your investigation is an agent for a foreign government. You have to have probable cause. That means you have to have evidence that it is more likely than not likely that the target of your investigation, in this case Carter Page, is an agent for a foreign government, in this case Russia. So what was the probable cause for the FISA warrant? It turns out that the lion's share of it was in fact the Steele dossier, was in fact this salacious, uncorroborated, rumor-rife, compendium of Donald Trump's alleged sexual exploits with no proof whatsoever. And they disguised the Steele dossier, the FBI, it seems to me, as real evidence, as the evidence that would support that foundation of probable cause that I just described you need to get the FISA warrant. So if that is true, and it appears to be true, Nunes seems he's saying that it's true, that the evidence was in fact all this innuendo, all this gossip, all this rumor mongering, and the FBI knew that and renewed that FISA warrant application several times, because they only last 90 days, to get Carter Page on basically false pretenses, then the whole thing can collapse, and you wonder about the agent's motivation, what they knew, when they knew it, and it really is very, very unsafe.
Sure. Devin Nunes' counterpart on the Democratic side of the aisle is Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff was actually on The View with Condoleezza Rice yesterday, sitting across the table from him, and she just flat out said, hey, you guys, wrap it up. Listen, Geraldo.
The American people are ready to move on. Everybody wants to know what happened. But as I also said to Congressman Schiff, the Intel committees also need to focus on what the Russians did, how they did it, because the first time, shame on them. The next time, shame on us if they can do it again. And I think there's too little attention to what they actually did and how we're going to deal with it.
All right. 30 seconds worth of feelings about that, Geraldo?
I think Secretary Rice is absolutely right. We want to know what Russia did and how they did it. But for goodness sake, there is no evidence that the president colluded with the Russians. That's what this whole thing was supposed to be about. If the president, as a candidate, was not in collusion, criminal collusion with the foreign power, then what is this really all about?
Politics.
Is this about getting people trapped in perjury raps? Is this about getting phony obstruction cases? Is this about the tumult and the disruption of the Trump administration? I think it is indeed time to move on. Let's see what Russia did. Let's bust their chops for it. But for goodness sake, let's free at last. Great God Almighty, let's free the President of the United States at last.
Yeah, and let him just be a president for a while without this hanging over his head. It's been there from day one, even when he was president-elect. Geraldo, I got bad news. I'm going to send you out with the squirrels and the deer. You're done.
Get your shovel. All right.
There's also Coyote.
Oh, God.
Yeah, look at
He's wily. All right, Geraldo, thank you very much.